For all of human history, we've gazed up at those twinkling lights and asked the universe's oldest question. Are we alone out here? It's a natural curiosity, right? A deep, primal yearning to connect, to understand our place in the vast cosmic tapestry. But tonight, I'm going to challenge you to flip that script. Forget, are we alone? I want you to ask something far more unsettling, more immediate. Are we locked in? Because in the next 10 minutes, every fleeting thought you've ever had about strange lights in the sky, every late night scroll through UFO sightings, every chilling nightmare where you felt watched, every politician making a half joke about us living in a simulation, it's all going to snap into terrifying focus. Imagine, just for a moment, waking up tomorrow not to your alarm clock, but to a sky-wide, unescapable announcement, a message that reverberates not just through the air, but through the very fabric of reality. Earth, our home, our cradle of civilization, is no longer a planet in the traditional sense. It has been reclassified. It is now, officially, cell block Sol. And you, me, everyone you've ever loved, every stranger you've ever passed on the street, we're all doing life without parole. A sentence handed down by a galactic court so ancient, so powerful, they've never even bothered to let us appeal. The notion sounds absolutely insane, doesn't it? Like something ripped straight from a late-night B-movie. Except, here's the kicker. The math, disturbingly, checks out. Think about it. The Milky Way, our magnificent home galaxy, is roughly 10 billion years old. That's an almost incomprehensible span of time. If just one civilization out there, anywhere in this vast cosmic ocean, managed to crack the secrets of interstellar travel a mere 1% of that time ago, just 100 million years, they would have had 100 million centuries to perfect their craft, to expand, to build. 100 million centuries to turn countless rocky worlds just like ours into cosmic Alcatrazes. They could have established vast intergalactic penal systems, complex and inescapable, long before our ancestors even dreamed of fire. And the most chilling part? The silent, unspoken rule of any good prison. Once a planet is requisitioned as a correctional facility, the wardens never, ever tell the inmates. They wouldn't. Why would they? So, keep watching, because by the time this video wraps up, you'll not only understand the grim logistics of a planetary prison, how the food would be rationed, why your neighbor might suddenly sprout gills, or how every single one of us might just be sprung by a single, desperate line of code. You'll also grasp the terrifying possibility that this isn't just a thought experiment. It might just be our terrifying reality. The verdict. Can you picture it? That precise, horrifying moment the news breaks? It doesn't come through CNN or a Twitter alert or a panic news anchor. No, this announcement arrives through something far more fundamental, far more inescapable: gravity itself. At precisely 3:07 a.m. Eastern Time, every single tide on Earth bulges an extra 20 centimeters, a silent, impossible heave of the oceans that goes unnoticed by most sleeping cities. Seismographs globally spike in perfect, terrifying synchrony, registering tremors that aren't earthquakes, but something else. A planetary shudder. And then the sky speaks, not with thunder, but with a voice that seems to emanate from everywhere and nowhere all at once. It's in every human language simultaneously, a babble of condemnation echoing in the pre-dawn darkness. But beyond that, it's in languages no human linguist has ever cataloged, complex sonic patterns that vibrate through the very bones of those who hear them. The message is chillingly concise. We, the pan-galactic judiciary, hereby designate Sol 3 a penal reserve. Inhabitants are classified remanded without trial. Appeals denied. Visitation suspended. Resistance punishable by stellar excision. Stellar excision. Think about that for a second. The removal of a star, our star. The implication is terrifying. They could simply erase us and our sun from existence. Most people, thankfully, sleep through this initial terrifying announcement. The few who stir, who catch snippets of the impossible chorus, assume it's a global prank, a sophisticated, terrifying hack on every communication system simultaneously. They roll over, grumbling, and pull the covers tighter. Until sunrise. Sunrise, that familiar, comforting daily miracle, reveals the bars. An iridescent membrane, shimmering with impossible colors, now hugs the thermosphere. It stretches across the entire sky, clinging to our planet like cling film wrapped around a grapefruit. It's beautiful, in a horrifying, alien way. One atom thick, yet tougher than neutronium. The stuff of neutron stars, the densest material known to science. And utterly opaque to outgoing signals. Not a single radio wave, not a single light photon, not even a thought can pierce it from the inside out. You can launch rockets and land on it, feel its strange, smooth surface, but you can't punch through. It's an invisible wall, a perfect cage. Within hours, the world descends into a controlled, yet profound chaos. Global markets crash, currencies becoming worthless paper faster than you can say, interstellar indictment. Militaries scramble, their jets uselessly buzzing against a shimmering, impenetrable barrier, their weapons suddenly laughably inadequate. And of course, the flat earthers emerge, triumphant and insufferable, claiming cosmic vindication for their long-held, bizarre beliefs, somehow seeing this as proof of their grand conspiracy. But the real mind-bending chaos is legal. Every single nation's constitution, every international treaty, every foundational text of human governance presumes terrestrial sovereignty. None, absolutely none, have a contingency for custody transfers to off-world entities. Does the President of the United States become a prison trustee? Does the Geneva Convention designed for human-on-human conflict cover oxygen rights when your cellmate is a silicon-based life form? Lawyers, bless their bewildered hearts, argue in frantic televised debates, their arguments dissolving into babbling incoherence. And while humanity grapples with its incomprehensible new reality, the first shipment of alien convicts arrives. They descend from the blackness of space in colossal shipping containers, each one the size of a skyscraper, dropped with impossible precision into the vast, unsuspecting Pacific Ocean. They hang suspended, tethered by lines that look suspiciously like fishing wire, impossibly thin, yet strong enough to hold these gargantuan structures. Inside these containers, species whose biologies rewrite high school textbooks, then burn the textbooks, then rewrite the very concept of biology. Silicon-based lizards that thrive on radioactivity, munching on spent nuclear fuel rods like they're gourmet snacks. Jellyfish-like beings that communicate exclusively through prime numbers, their pulsars of light conveying complex mathematical philosophies. And a race of 2-meter tardigrades, impossibly tough, who apologize profusely in a series of clicks and whistles, while gently but firmly stealing your skin's moisture, leaving you feeling like a dried prune. We are no longer the apex predator, the dominant species. We're the freshman dorm, suddenly sharing a very crowded, very uncomfortable room with the most bizarre and dangerous creatures the galaxy has to offer. And we are definitely not in charge anymore. Morning roll call. By week 2, the planet has settled into a terrifying, yet strangely predictable routine. The initial panic has given way to a grim, desperate adaptation. Dawn no longer brings birdsong or the gentle light of morning. Instead, it starts with an orbital loudspeaker, a voice that booms from unseen sources echoing across continents, rattling windows and nerves. It doesn't speak words, but barcodes, a rapid-fire succession of digital chirps and whistles. If your unique barcode is called, you report to work detail. No excuses, no sick days, no appeals. And if you ignore the summons, the sky flashes ultraviolet, a silent, searing warning. The next day, your hair falls out, not gently, but in clumps. Day 3, your teeth follow, leaving you with a gummy, hollow smile. By day 5, you're not just sick, you're a puddle of obedient protoplasm, your will utterly broken, your body a mere vessel for whatever the wardens deem fit. So people aren't quickly. They prioritize obedience over democracy, over dignity, over everything. It's a primal, brutal choice for survival. Cities, once vibrant hubs of culture and commerce, restructure into stark functional blocks: red, blue, gamma, X. Each block has a purpose, a role in this new horrifying ecosystem. Red handles agriculture, but the crops aren't what you remember. They now include Martian fungus that tastes distinctly like regret and grows exclusively on the decomposing bodies of former legislators, a grim, poetic irony. Blue maintains infrastructure, retrofitting subways to accommodate quadrupeds who can't breathe oxygen but have an insatiable, terrifying craving for copper wiring, leading to frequent blackouts and electrocutions. Gamma is the mixed housing block, a jarring social experiment where humans and aliens are forced to bunk together. Conflicts which are frequent and often based on utterly incomprehensible cultural differences are settled not by law or reason, but by karaoke duels. The judgment isn't on species, but on pure, unadulterated pitch, leading to some truly bizarre vocal performances from multi-limbed beings with multiple vocal cords. And then there's Block X. It's strictly off limits, shrouded in an impenetrable aura of fear and mystery. Rumor has it it's where the wardens walk, where their true forms might be glimpsed. No one who enters Block X ever returns with their shadow intact, a chilling phrase that suggests something far worse than physical harm. Currency, as we knew it, is obsolete. It's replaced by credits, a blockchain whose ledger is literally the moon. Every single transaction, from a bar of recycled protein to a smuggled memory, is public, recorded in an intricate, ever-shifting pattern on the lunar surface. The catch? You can only read it if you understand the language of basalt, a skill few humans possess. Crime still exists, of course. It just scales up, becoming far more audacious and desperate. Instead of shoplifting, people siphon oxygen from the National Reserve, a life-threatening act in a world where every breath is monitored. The penalty for such a transgression is exile to the planet's core, which has been conveniently hollowed out and air-conditioned to a balmy 2,000 degrees Celsius. It's not just a death sentence. It's a hellish, drawn-out incineration. Schools, strangely, reopen, but the curriculum is radically different, reflecting the brutal new reality. Kindergartners learn sharing, not with other kids, but with species who see in gamma rays, making eye contact a dizzying, potentially blinding experience. Middle school students calculate their caloric value to a xenophore, a grim lesson in self-preservation. And university courses now focus on why hope is a non-renewable resource, a philosophical gut punch for young minds. Graduate students, however, still universally survive on instant noodles, proving that some things, even in a galactic prison, are truly, depressingly universal. Lunch in the yard isn't a casual affair anymore. Meals are served communally in what used to be our grandest sports stadiums, now repurposed in some vast, echoing mess halls. The air hangs thick with a scent of synthesized protein and the bewildering array of alien pheromones. You queue up, tray in hand, next to an 8-foot beetle-like creature who politely, almost regally, asks you to pass the hot sauce. Why? Because capsaicin, the active ingredient in chili peppers, is a Class A narcotic on their home world, and they're jonesing for a fix. It's a bizarre, daily dance of cultural exchange under duress. Protein, the staple of this new diet, comes from cloned algae, bland and utterly devoid of flavor. The only flavor you get is from nostalgia, a bitter, sweet taste of what once was. There's always enough, technically, to sustain you, but it tastes like the memory of your mother's lasagna filtered through someone else's childhood. A pale, unsatisfying echo of comfort. It's a constant, subtle psychological torture. The real currency, the true trade, isn't credits or protein, but information. Aliens from distant, unimaginable star systems eagerly swap star maps, intricate, glittering charts of nebulae and galaxies, for human lullabies, simple melodies that somehow soothe their multi-chambered hearts. Humans, in turn, learn that dark matter, the mysterious, invisible scaffolding of the universe, is just encrypted gossip, a cosmic whisper network of ancient civilizations. It's a black market of knowledge where secrets are more valuable than gold. A more insidious black market emerges for emotions. Imagine bottling jealousy, distilling schadenfreude, or vaping ennui. People trade these concentrated feelings, desperate for a taste of something real, something human. Prices spike dramatically during major sporting events, as the collective emotional output of millions becomes a commodity. A particularly thrilling soccer match could send the price of bottled triumph soaring. Security, ever present, is handled by whispers. These aren't human guards, but nanodrones. Tiny, almost invisible motes of dust that float through the air, shaped like microscopic insects. They record sub-vocalized thoughts, the quiet anxieties, the whispered complaints, and dock credits for any hint of malcontent. You can't even think a rebellious thought without a consequence. The trick, a desperate, ingenious act of defiance, is to sing in your head. Whispers, for all their technological sophistication, can't parse melody, only intent. They hear the sonic vibrations of your thoughts, but the emotional content, the meaning of a song, is lost to them. Entire choirs form in the mess halls, humming Radiohead's Creep, or Karma Police in their minds, a silent internal symphony of dissent. It's a beautiful, poignant act of rebellion, a way to keep their spirits, their humanity alive. And romance? It survives too, though twisted into unrecognizable forms. Picture this, a human in a gas giant cephalopod, a creature of swirling gases and unimaginable pressure, fall in love. Their courtship takes place through interpretive dance, a slow, graceful ballet of fluid movements and shimmering light displays. Their first date lasts 3 weeks because time runs slower in her massive, pressure-suited form. a temporal disparity that makes every moment precious and fleeting. They eventually break up when she realizes he ages in real time, while she sheds decades like skin, her lifespan measured in millennia. The tragic, beautiful impossibility of their love is a testament to the enduring human need for connection. Still, love letters circulate, written on banana leaves because paper biodegrades too fast in the new, alien-infused atmosphere. These aren't just letters, they're artifacts of defiance, expressions of hope in a hopeless world. Hope, it turns out, is biodegradable too, slowly decaying with every passing day, a fragile thing in a harsh reality. The Wardens. No one, and I mean no one, has ever seen a warden whole. They are entities of such scale and dimension that our limited human senses can only register fragments, fleeting glimpses, unsettling echoes. You catch pieces, a boot print, impossibly vast, that starts in Kansas and ends on the moon. A single step covering continents. You hear a voice, not with your ears, but directly in your mind. A voice that files your taxes before you're even born. A chilling premonition of control. Or you might just glimpse an eye reflection in your bathroom mirror. A cold, alien gaze that blinks 1 second too late. A temporal dislocation that sends shivers down your spine. They are everywhere and nowhere, simultaneously. They leave calling cards, subtle yet terrifying proofs of their omnipresence. Quartz dice, impossibly perfect, showing 7 pips, a number that shouldn't exist on a 6-sided die. Bibles with all the verbs redacted, turning holy texts into meaningless collections of nouns, stripping away action and agency. Or Sudoku puzzles, seemingly innocent, that, once solved, arrange themselves into your exact death certificate, complete with date and method, a chilling prophecy of your demise. These aren't threats. They're casual statements of absolute power. The rules are simple, brutally so, and enforced with unimaginable efficiency. First, no escape attempts. Second, no interspecies conspiracies larger than 12 members. Any more and you're deemed a significant threat. Third, and perhaps most bafflingly, no poetry and palindromes. The arbitrary nature of this last rule is perhaps the most terrifying. It speaks to a power so absolute it can legislate even aesthetic choices. Break a rule, any rule, and your entire block is redistricted. Entire zip codes teeming with life vanish overnight, replaced with identical geography, perfectly rendered but utterly devoid of people. Historians, those who remain, call these redaction events, trying to intellectualize the horror. Residents, however, simply call it Tuesday, a grim, casual acceptance of incomprehensible loss. The psychological toll of living in a world where your neighbors can simply cease to exist, where entire communities are erased, is profound. It breeds a constant low hum of terror and compliance. But even wardens, it seems, have middle management. Enter the trustees. These are lifers, prisoners themselves who enforce order within cell block soul in exchange for privileges. They look human, mostly, until you notice their shadows point the wrong way, a subtle distortion of reality that hints at their compromised nature. Trustees wear bright orange reflective coats, a symbol of their authority, and carry clipboards that, chillingly, list your unspoken fears, your deepest anxieties, ready to exploit them. They can grant parole, a terrifying, coveted privilege, a 30-minute jaunt outside the membrane. You float in the vacuum of space, suspended between the prison wall and the infinite, staring out at the barred spiral of the Milky Way. It's a moment of profound, cosmic perspective, a horrifying realization of how impossibly small your sentence is against the galactic swirl. Most return humbled, their defiance utterly crushed by the vastness of the universe and the power of their jailers. Some, a strange few, come back taller, their bones stretched, perhaps, by the cosmic perspective, or by some unknown interaction with the void. A handful never return at all. Their orange coats reappear on a new recruit, still warm, a chilling reminder of the cost of freedom. Evening entertainment. Nights on Cell Block Seoul are reserved for spectacle, a chilling form of entertainment for both prisoners and, presumably, the unseen wardens. The sky, our once familiar canvas of stars, transforms into a colossal coliseum. Satellites, once tools of communication and observation, rearrange themselves into intricate pixel boards, replaying crimes on a galactic scale. One evening, Earth watches in silent awe as a supernova is sentenced for excessive brightness, its brilliant demise playing out in accelerated real time. The next night, we see a comet, a wanderer, do hard time for loitering. Its trajectory forcibly altered, its icy core shattered. Sentences are carried out in real time, right before our eyes. Stars dim, planets crumble into dust, black holes even get parole hearings, their gravitational pull momentarily lessened. Humans cheer, not out of genuine enjoyment, but because it's safer, far safer than silence. It's a performance of compliance, a collective gasp of terror that masquerades as entertainment. But underneath this chilling spectacle, resistance brews, a quiet, desperate fire in the dark. A coalition forms, an unlikely alliance of hackers, exobiologists who now understand alien weaknesses, and failed poets who see the beauty in defiance. They call themselves the undefined variable. Their manifesto is simple, yet profound. If reality is code, bugs are features. They believe the universe itself, and by extension their prison, operates on a set of programmable rules, and rules can be exploited. They begin to uncover and exploit loopholes in the very fabric of their imprisonment. They discover that gravity, for instance, is only a suggestion below 10 meters per second. Sneak under that threshold, and you can walk on air for 9 steps. A brief, exhilarating taste of freedom. Cause and effect, they learn, are locally cached. If you apologize before you offend, the offense never logs, creating a bizarre, guilt-free system of preemptive contrition. And time zones? Utterly negotiable. Set your watch to the Big Bang, and you can age backwards at the rate of 1 second per century, a strange form of temporal immortality, or at least extreme longevity. Their greatest hack, however, is a masterpiece of digital deception. They manage to convince the system, the omniscient, all-seeing wardens, that Earth has already escaped. For 3 glorious, heart-stopping days, the iridescent membrane flickers, then opens, a shimmering and possible breach in the sky. Ships of every conceivable shape and size, cobbled together from scavenged parts, rusty bicycles, and desperate ingenuity, launch into the void. Most burn up in the upper atmosphere, their pilots consumed by a final, desperate hope. A few, impossibly, make orbit. And one, a rickety contraption built from scavenged bicycle parts and a Tesla battery, clears the barrier completely. Its pilot? A 13-year-old girl, a digital prodigy who, in a final act of brilliant defiance, uploaded her consciousness into a JPEG image file and simply emailed herself out, a digital ghost, slipping through the cracks of a cosmic firewall. She becomes legend, whispered about in hushed tones in the mess halls, a symbol of impossible hope, the first human spam to breach the firewall of heaven, a tiny, insignificant data packet that carried the hopes of an entire imprisoned species. Lights out. Curfew on Cell Block Sol is planetary, an inescapable universal command. At precisely 23:59 Greenwich Mean Time, every single night, the sun dims 2%. It's not an eclipse. There's no astronomical explanation. It's more like a landlord flicking the porch light, a subtle, chilling reminder that rent is due, that you are being watched, that your time is not your own. Simultaneously, heartbeat rates across the globe sync to a uniform 60 BPM. It's a forced rhythm, a biological imposition. Anyone whose heart beats faster, perhaps from fear or defiance, receives a polite but firm electric sting, a jolt that brings them back into line, a constant, low-level reminder of control. Even your autonomic functions are now regulated. Dreams, once the last bastion of personal freedom, are now curated. You can opt for nightmares, cheaper, readily available, and often vivid recreations of your deepest fears. Or you can pay a premium for Dreamfast, of your home world before the prison, nostalgic, idealized visions of freedom and beauty. Most choose nightmares, a grim acceptance of their reality. At least, they reason, the screaming is their own. Sleep schedules are staggered, a deliberate measure to avoid mass REM insurgency, preventing collective dreaming that might lead to organized rebellion. Aliens snore in frequencies that shatter glass, forcing humans to adapt by learning to sleepwalk in shifts, navigating the strange nocturnal soundscape. Midnight is also when the census updates. Population tallies, impossibly precise, appear carved into desert floors overnight, visible from orbit. If your name is missing from the list, you have until sunrise to prove you exist. Fail? And you don't die in the traditional sense. You're just never mentioned again. Friends forget you, their memories subtly altered. Photos crop you out, leaving unsettling blanks where you once stood. Even your childhood diary, a personal archive of your life, retracts itself, your entries fading to blank pages. Non-existence, the ultimate erasure, is the final sentence, a fate worse than death. But some embrace it. They become smugglers of oblivion, dealing in the most precious commodity of all, absence. For the right price, you can purchase a stranger's erasure, step into their blank spot, and live rent-free in the margins of existence. It's the closest thing to freedom left, a terrifying, desperate, and ultimately fleeting escape from the all-seeing eye of the wardens, a haunting form of liberty found in not being. The twist. All right. Deep breath. Because here is the part they never tell you on orientation day. The secret's so profound, so paradigm shifting, it makes everything you've just heard twist into something entirely new, entirely more terrifying, and utterly heartbreaking. Humanity wasn't sentenced. We volunteered. Archaeologists, digging beneath the impossibly thick ice of Antarctica, long after the membrane descended, found it. Not a message, not a warning, but a time-stamped contract. A legally binding agreement, signed not just by representatives, but by the collective consciousness of Homo sapiens, agreeing to planetary incarceration. Why? In exchange for asylum. Asylum from something far, far worse. A predatory universe. A cosmic ecosystem where sentient species, once they discover faster than light travel, that ultimate marker of intelligence and advancement, are systematically harvested, consumed, erased. Earth is not punishment. It is witness protection. The wardens aren't jailers. They are in fact our bodyguards, maintaining the illusion of a prison to keep us hidden in plain sight. The iridescent membrane, that seemingly inescapable wall, isn't a barrier to keep us in. It's a one-way mirror, designed to reflect outward, showing nothing but a barren, unremarkable rock, while allowing our protectors to observe and react. Every cruelty, every absurd rule, every seemingly arbitrary act of control is camouflage, a meticulously crafted illusion to keep the real threat, the cosmic predators, from ever noticing we're still alive. The alien convicts? They're not criminals. They're fellow refugees, paying their rent in hardship, playing their part in this grand galactic charade. Each silicon lizard, each prime number speaking jellyfish, each moisture-stealing tardigrade is another species in hiding, another desperate soul seeking asylum from the same terrifying hunters. The trustees, those terrifying middle managers with their wrong-way shadows, they're not compromised lifers. They're crisis actors, highly trained individuals maintaining the illusion that we're too weak, too pathetic, too insignificant to bother eating. They play the role of the cruel enforcer to perfection, ensuring no predator ever thinks there's anything valuable here. Even the dreaded redaction events, where entire zip codes vanish, they aren't punishments. They're mercy killings. Those who learn too much, who might accidentally compromise the illusion, are quietly, mercifully removed. Better to be forgotten than tortured for intel by something that would make the wardens look like kindly school teachers. And the girl? The 13-year-old prodigy who spammed herself into space? She didn't escape. She became a ping, a blip of disinformation, a carefully crafted signal broadcast directly to the hunters. Nothing valuable here, move along. Just some annoying, self-destructive primitives. Her escape was a calculated risk, a message designed to reinforce the illusion of a worthless prison planet. Knowing this profound, universe-shattering truth, changes absolutely nothing in our daily lives. Because the moment we act like we know, the moment we break character, the moment the illusion cracks, the contract is void, the asylum is revoked, and the hunters, who have been circling for millennia, will finally find us. So, we keep playing inmates. We keep filing grievances about cafeteria portions, about the taste of regret fungus. We keep dreaming of breakout because that very hopelessness, that constant simmering desire for freedom, is the best encryption key. It's the perfect cover. Freedom was never taken from us. It was traded. One species' future for one planet's present. And the bill, the terrifying, ultimate bill, comes due the day we stop believing we're prisoners. The day we stop performing our captivity.
So, next time you feel stuck, caught in a soul-crushing traffic jam, trapped in a dead-end job, scrolling endlessly through an algorithmic feed looping cat videos, remember this. That claustrophobic itch, that feeling of being trapped, that vague sense that something isn't quite right with the world, that might just be the most important lie we ever collectively agreed to tell. Smile at the cameras, those invisible whispers tracking your every move. Laugh with the silicon-based lizards and the prime number-speaking jellyfish. Sing Radiohead in your head, a silent anthem of defiance against the cosmic surveillance. And above all, keep watching the stars, because somewhere out there, something bigger, something infinitely more dangerous is watching back, deciding whether we're still worth the trouble of maintaining this elaborate planet-sized illusion. Drop a comment below. What would you trade for just 1 hour outside the membrane knowing the truth? Would you take the deal, risking everything, or would you remain inside, playing your part against the hunters? If this video warped your worldview, if it made you question everything you thought you knew, subscribe for more cosmic conundrums and share it with someone who still thinks Earth is the universe's VIP lounge. Stay curious, stay defiant, and never, ever, ever stop asking the wrong questions.